So we have Mercy. Mercy said, how am I supposed to have, how much am I supposed to have before planning on relocation through the study abroad route? How much are you supposed to have? So I will let you know how much you're supposed to have. It's not a specific figure because it's school dependent. Hello, how are you doing today? Welcome to this session. How are you doing? What's going on at your end? Okay, so I decided to come here to answer the question for people who are looking to relocate to where? Canada. So you've been wanting to relocate to Canada. This is your opportunity to ask me questions. Yeah! Where am I joining you from today? So my name is Dr. Linda. I'm sure you already know. I'm an educational consultant with Vantage Migration, and we handle education migration. However, when it comes to Canada relocation, there is education migration, there is other routes, so many. I'm sure you know some of them. And sometimes, you know, you're wondering, like, should I go through education pathway? Should I go through express entry? Should I go through skill trade? Should I go through this? Should I go through that? Should I go through this? Should I go through that? So we have Mercy. Mercy said, how am I supposed to have, how much am I supposed to have before planning on relocation through the study abroad route? How much are you supposed to have? So I will let you know how much you're supposed to have. It's not a specific figure because it's school dependent and cost dependent. So let me explain the answer by telling you how it works here. To tell you how it works, I'm going to tell you how it works in my country. Okay, let me explain. I did my undergraduate studies in Nigeria, and let me also say that what I'm about to explain to you now is the major reason people ask you, how much am I supposed to have? I did my undergraduate studies in Nigeria, to be precise, University of Benin. In University of Benin, as of then, there were basically maybe two sets of payments. There was this one school fees, one exact school fees for like the rest of the students. And I remember that in medicine and dentistry, we have one set of payment again, but for the medicine and dentistry people, other people had their payment. But on the average, most of the students paid the same school fees. Most of the students paid the same school fees, with tiny bit of exception. Fast forward to Canada, right? That is not how it works. Let's say using University of Waterloo, where I did my graduate studies, right? In University of Waterloo, different students pay different amounts. Let me explain. Even in the same department, but different courses, they pay different amounts. So you will see somebody paying $9,000, another person paying $3,000, another person paying $50,000 in the same University of Waterloo, right? And that's the University of Waterloo, the same department does not charge the same school fees. Talk less of different departments. Now, talk less of University of Waterloo versus University of Toronto versus Conestoga College. The fees are different. Like, they are so different that you can just, start thinking of an average, but you are just shooting yourself in the leg, because then your calculation will not hold water. Even if it will hold water, it will just be by chance. By chance, right? And as a consultant who understands the importance of expert opinion, I cannot give you wrong information. So you have to know that school fees abroad is program dependent, department dependent, school dependent, course dependent. So you have to keep that in mind. So when you see somebody say, how much am I supposed to have for the education route? You've got it wrong. You've got it wrong. The easiest way to answer that question is to get started. When you choose the program you want to go for, suddenly you will see the amount you're supposed to pay for that program. That is the only time you will start having a clue. Even for us, the advantage migration, I know that I said this video we're going to be focusing on Canada, right? But for us, advantage migration, we work with students who are going to UK or US or Canada or Australia. Do you see? So now that means it's also country dependent. So for you to start having an idea of how much you should save, you have to choose the country, choose the program, choose the school. Then we will now know whether you are a single person, a family of 2, a family of 3, a family of 4. Do you see? So you can't just pick, let's see, you can't just pick an amount and tell somebody that this is the amount you're supposed to have. That will be giving wrong information. And as you can imagine, someone in my position should not be doing that, right? Like, imagine you go to your doctor and your doctor gives you wrong information about your health. You can even sue the doctor self, right? So that's why we can't give you a specific amount. Even the person who have told you has also amount just made a guess, but you did not realize it because you don't know how things work abroad. How did the person know the school you are going for? How did the person know the program? How did the person know how much that school will charge? Since it is the case that different schools charge different amounts. So they're just telling you what you want to hear. Not really telling you the truth, but what you want to hear, right? And let me ask you today, do you want the truth or you want to hear what you want to hear? That's what you should ask yourself. So keep that in mind, that this is how it works. So we cannot say, hold this amount. That's what people who don't know how it works do. And you shouldn't expect that from me. Right? Emanuela, thank you for joining. Mercy, I hope you heard the answer to your question. We have Nancy from Kenya. That's awesome. We have Natalie from Cameroon. Thank you so much for joining. We have Chukwemeka from Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining. We have Theodora watching from Qatar. Thank you so much for joining. Who has the next question? Who has the next question? We have, okay, Michael from Sierra Leone. Thank you for joining. All right. Ujumwa, thank you so much for joining. How are you? How are you? I'm so happy to see you. Thank you for joining. We have Lydia. Lydia said, I used my passport and bank bearing a so-so name, while my certificate has so-so name. What's your question? You just made a comment, Lydia. What's your question? Your statement is not complete. Let's go to the next person. We have Oluwakemi saying, how do I know how much to ask for when applying for loan? When applying for study loan, how do you know how much to ask for? It depends on how much your program is. And this is actually part of our training, part of our curriculum. So if you come to Vantage Migration, we're going to show you how the loan works and be able to guide you properly. All right? So do you know how to work with Vantage Migration? You can start by attending our free webinar, www.vantagemigration.ca. www.vantagemigration.ca. And if you have a question, shoot us an email. Shoot us an email. But I must tell you that when you have started going into low, how much this is, like you're at the tail end of the process. So you really need that guidance. You need that help. All right. So that, and if you are going with loan, you have to trade. You have to trade. Imagine that you are trading on a rope. You see how you're deal like this. When somebody is trading on a rope, they'll deal like this, right? Because if you don't take time, you get visa denial. There is a way, there is a process, there are things you should do. When you're going with loan, you increase your risk of visa denial. And what reduces that risk is you knowing all the other things you're supposed to do for visa. So some people, they'll tell you, if you take loan, they won't approve your visa. No, they will, if you know what you're doing. They will if you know what you're doing, all right? So just be careful. We have Esther. Okay, Esther said that's right. Finish from Uniben. Right. Thank you for corroborating what I'm saying. We have so many people from different places. Let's see. Questions. I'm looking for questions that you have about relocating to Canada so that I can answer them to the best of my knowledge. Right? Let's look at. We have Bernadette. Bernadette said, Dr. Linda, I've missed you so much. Oh my God, I've been here all the time. Where have you been? Huh? Okay, let's see. We have Favor. Favor watching from Mozambique. That's okay. That's fine. We have Chantel watching from Cameroon. We have Destiny from Nigeria. We have Exta from South Africa. Thank you so much. We have okay, let's see more questions. Let's look at more questions. So we have Simon saying, please, what's the scholarship for Masters of Public Health program like in Canada? Is it available and how does it work? Is available, Simon, is available, my dear. What you do is start from our free study abroad webinar, go to www.vantagemigration.ca. That's how to get started. All right. Say he's yeah. Simon is from Ghana. That's awesome. If you check our page, you see a lot of testimonials from Ghanaians as well. So you are home. You are home. Let's take a look at other questions. We have Suleiman. Suleiman is saying hello everyone. Hello Suleiman. What country are you joining us from today? Thank you. Chris, I have Chris. Chris said, please, what is the first step to follow Dr. Linda as a beginner? The first step is to attend our free study abroad webinar, because that's how you get to know what we are all about, what we do, how we do it, is by attending the webinar, right? And the webinar link can be found on www.vantagemigration.ca. Please, if you're watching me right now and you know the webinar link, can you comment it? Please, if you don't know the exact link, don't type the wrong link so that you don't lead people astray. Only the people who are 100% sure of the webinar link that should type it, www.vantagemigration.ca. All right. Now, Lovett said, I would like to study in Canada with scholarship. How do I go about it? Okay, so that Lovett will also benefit from going to www.vantagemigration.ca, and every other person who has similar question to what Lovett is asking me today. Thank you. We have Wenata Jones. Wenata Jones, where are you joining from? What country? Okay, so let's look at questions that other people have. We have someone joining us from Angola. Thank you for joining. All right. So Kende said, are there colleges in Canada with no application fee? Let me give you this advice for free. I do not advise you to go and apply to programs with no application fee. Those are usually the most expensive programs. I will not advise you to apply for programs with no application fee, whether they exist or not. But again, some people will prefer to make their mistakes than have a mentor them. So I just hope you take that information for free. Okay. Juanetta Jones is watching from UAE. That's awesome. Congratulations. Thank you for joining. One moment. Oh, someone said, how can someone get access to university in Canada from Sierra Leone? Actually, it's online and it's very easy. Suleiman. Suleiman, have you gotten our webinar link? www.vantagemigration.ca. Attend that webinar today so that you know exactly how to even get started, right? So that's my advice for you. We have Ade Green from South Africa. Thank you so much for joining. Blessing is saying, hi, Dr. Linda. Thank you. Marian is saying, can I work and school as a student of biomedical science with professional placement? You can work and school when you say with professional placement. No, like nobody decide the type of placement. So if you want to work in your profession, you apply to your profession, to jobs that are in your profession. Not that if you start school, somebody will call you and place you professionally or something. You know, sometimes when people like put information together, like they'll put questions together, it can look so bogus and so confusing, right? You can study and work. When it comes to the work, you apply to the work in your profession, full stop. Right? That's the way to solve that problem. They don't have to all, you know, be tied together, making it look so big. We have Natalie said, I would like to know how to have a scholarship for postgraduate students in architecture in Canada and Australia. Natalie, that's very awesome. Natalie, have you attended our free webinar before? Go to www.vantagemigration.ca. All right? And I already asked people to also comment the link as a comment under this video so that other people can pick up from there. Let's look more questions. So Joycey Love said, Dr. Linda, is it possible to migrate with your spouse same time to Canada? Yes. You know, people have this feeling that if you are going to Canada with your spouse through the study abroad route, especially, that you must go first and then come back for your spouse. It's not correct. You can do that. But it's not that the embassy asks you to do that. You are the one who will choose to do that. The same way that you are the one who will choose to what? To go with your spouse at the same time. So there's no restriction on whether you should go with your spouse or not go with your spouse. You make the choice. All right? I see some people saying something like, I've attended the webinar, this, that. Please, don't put information on social media that is going to make you an attractive person for scammers. All right? Don't put those kind of information. If you have a question, ask it. If you don't have a question and you want to drop some kind of sensitive comment, send us an email or keep the comment to yourself. You see, so somebody will say something like, I've attended the webinar, putting my money together. You know, you are just attracting flies to yourself. Soon you will start seeing people chatting you inbox, asking you to send money to them. Protect yourself online. Be wise. Protect yourself online. Please, if you have made such comment, delete it. Some people have deleted it, but I see that they keep posting it as if say, Dr. Linda, you must see it. Delete it. Stop making yourself vulnerable online. Someone said, I have a friend who is not a graduate. He has intention of studying in Canada. Can it be possible for him? It is possible for him because there are people who come to Canada as undergraduates. But all you just have to know is that Vantage Migration will work with university graduates only. All right? That's what to know. So we have Michael from Cyprus. Thank you so much for joining. We have Mustafa from Liberia. Thank you so much for joining. We have, okay. Let's see. Let's see questions that people are drawing. So Ademi said, how can my wife get scholarship What will be the cost of the process? And if giving scholarship, can the family go with her? The family can go with you or your wife. The family can go with one of you once you get admission, whether you have scholarship or not. That's number one. Let's break the question. Let's detangle it, right? Your family can go with your wife or your husband or, the spouse once you get admission. Answer that one, right? Now, let's say, can your wife get scholarship in Canada? Yes, because human beings can get scholarship in Canada. So, your wife is a human being. Therefore, your wife can get scholarship in Canada. You get? Now, the other one now said, what will be the cost of the process? The cost of the process is dependent on what you are doing. If you have scholarship, that means school fees money is out. If you don't have scholarship, that means you have to pay school fees, right? So that already can drastically change the price or the cost. For example, if you don't have scholarship and you're taking study loan, that means that the cost is different, but it's not coming out from your pocket. So, you see, there are a lot. And then we go to the type of school, the type of program, because all these things shift the price. So, it's not easy for you to know the price ahead of time. And I've mentioned it that even if somebody give you a price right now, they're just telling you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. I'm telling you what you need to hear. Brace up. Save as much as you can. But get started, because except you start, you won't even know what you need to put together and what you don't need to put together, except you start. Right? I've talked about how, like when I was trying to, if you have attended my webinar, I've heard this story, and it's a true life story, by the way. When I was like, oh, agents, I went to an agent, I was like, I want to relocate abroad. By the way, they didn't even ask me, this is how much I'm supposed to have, because I'm sure they just needed me to pay their fee first. After I paid the fee, and the agent went to get me admission, that is $50,000. I was like, agent, a young graduate, how am I supposed to pay $50,000? So, but the whole point is that they've already wasted my time, months, before I got to know that fee. But at the onset, they'll just tell you, you can have $10,000 or $15,000. If you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 15, 100 million, whatever amount they tell you. But that is always different from reality. It's always different from reality. So that's why I can't do the same thing that I'm criticizing. I can't do the same thing I'm criticizing. So you don't know. Even me, I don't know. Get started so that you can begin to know, so that you can plan properly. If you keep looking for who will tell you a figure, you will soon get somebody who is willing to tell you what you want to hear. And you will still see at the end, you waste 1 year, waste 2 years, and nothing will happen. Right? Lovette Williams, I've been deleting your comments. Any more comments from you, I'm going to block you. It seems you are not listening to what I'm advising you. Okay. Let's see more questions. We have Chioma saying, can people pay instrumentally? Yes, our training fee will allow you to pay instrumentally. Please send us an email. Our email address is admission@vantagemigration.ca, so that you will see exactly what is at stake, what is involved, what and what. Send us an email. If you've attended our webinar and you have a question, or you're looking at instrumental payment, send us an email. Email address is admission@vantagemigration.ca. All right? All right. Ademi said, please, can you release your contacts? Our email address is the best way to contact us, and actually the only way to contact us. So, email us at admission@vantagemigration.ca. Let me repeat. admission@vantagemigration.ca. Please, if you are listening to me now and you got that email address, and you're 100% sure that you got the email address, please, could you type it down, right? But if you are listening, please make sure you check and see the one that is correct. Admission@vantagemigration.ca, so that you don't make mistake and send to the wrong email address. Because if you send to the wrong email address, you are not going to get response, right? Let's look at Priska said, how can I migrate to Canada to live and work? Okay, you depending on your highest level of education. If you have masters or if you have masters or you have PGD, meaning you have done maybe HND and PGD, or BSc and PGD, or you have you're a lawyer, pharmacist, optometrist, dentist, doctor, veterinary doctor. If you are any of these, or chiropractor, if you're any of these, you can apply for the Canada Express Entry for skilled workers. You can Google it. Canada Express Entry for skilled workers. You can apply for that. So check it on Google and apply for it. If you are like, you see this school thing, no be for me. But one shocker that I will always tell you is that most people who relocate through that process have to go back to school when they arrive. So you will not see what was the essence of waiting 2 years or 1.5 years just to go through express entry, only for you to arrive and 6 months or 1 year later you are returning back to school. Why not just go through the fastest, shortest and easiest way, the study abroad route, and on arrival you are already schooling. 1 year later, you are doing the best of job. That's the best for you. But you know, it always sounds like, well, because you're into study abroad. Think of it. Why am I into study abroad? I'm into study abroad because it's the best route. Okay? It's a free advice and it may not make sense. But if you hearken to it and listen to it, you will save yourself 2-3 years of agony abroad. I'm telling you. Ask around. If you know anybody who have relocated, ask them. Did they go back to school? Are they planning to go back to school? You will hear what they have to say. And maybe don't just ask only one person. If you ask 2 or 3 people, you will start seeing what looks like a pattern. Even those that have not gone back to school are planning to go back to school. They will clearly tell you that if you come through school, it's the best route. Okay? Let's look at... Cynthia is saying, is it possible to come to Canada with my husband and my son to work? Yes, it is possible. That express entry route, you can relocate with your entire family. Also, if you are coming through the study abroad route, because through the study abroad route, you study and you work. You study and you work. So the main person, let's say the wife or the husband, the main person who is the student, is studying and working part-time. The student, the spouse is working full-time. 1 year later, you graduate, you start working full-time. By the way, in Canada right now, as I speak to you, they've lifted the work limit for students. Though I know that it may not always be the case forever. That's why I gave you the gold standard. But right now, they've lifted the work limit. But I also know, even though they've lifted the work limit, it is almost impossible that you're going to be a full-time student and a full-time worker in Canada. How will you do it? Because when you wake up in the morning, where will you go? Your work or your school? That's why I will still maintain that as a student, even if you want to work, you're still going to... Like, it is only feasible for you to work part-time. But once you finish your program, you start working full-time. And you can relocate with your family. And your spouse can be working full-time from day one. There's nothing wrong here, I'm telling you. This is really the best that you can do. So, because now if you go and say, I want to only go and work, what's the route you're going to follow? Do you know the things you have to do for that route? For example, if you're going through express entry, you have to write IELTS. If you're going through study abroad, you don't have to write IELTS, right? That's already a layer of difficulty added to it. If you are going through study abroad, you will pick when you want to travel. If you are going through express entry, you join a pool and wait until you are called. That is practically how it happens. And you don't know if you are going to be called this year or next year. Or ever. Do you see? As a human being, I love to take control of my life. Not the one I'll go and enter a pool and be waiting. So that's the way to think about it, all right? Now let's look at Suleiman said today is my first day watching you. That's fine. Suleiman, I told you to go to www.vantagemigration.ca, right? Let's see. Someone say, can my wife go with 4 kids? Yes, your wife can go with 4 kids. Your wife can even go with 7 kids. But you have to think about it from practicality point of view. You are going to a new country. If you are going with your wife and both of you are going with 4 kids, it makes sense, right? So watch my sentence or watch my statement, okay? The embassy does not tell you how many kids to go with. You can go with 100 kids if they are all yours. But now let's come to practicality, right? If you, because you say, can your wife go with? Meaning that there is a chance you're not going with her. Now imagine one woman, maybe she's also going to be studying, and she's going with 4 children all by herself, plus herself 5. 5 of them are going to land. What are you doing in the country where you are? As the man that is asking me this question. Perhaps I have an answer. Perhaps you are the breadwinner and you don't need to leave your job at the moment. That makes sense, okay? But do you think it will be easier for that your wife to perhaps go with maybe 2 kids and maybe leave 2 with you or leave 2 with grandma? Do you understand? Or, like, we're talking about practicality here, than coming with 4 kids and herself, and she's also a student. How is she going to do it? You have to think about that before you. So it's not just for me to say yes or no. As per whether it's possible, but you have to put plans on ground. And if you are sending your wife abroad with 4 kids, make sure you pad her pocket very, very well, so that she won't have to even go and work. Because how will she work? Pick the children from school, also go to school. It will not work. You have to make sure you are giving her enough money for herself, for the 4 kids' living expenses, that she can maintain these things without working. And even at that, it will still be tough. But if both of you are going at once, you know that if this spouse is not at home, the other one is at home looking after the kids. It makes sense. Okay, think about it. All right, let's see. We have Fonya here saying, I want to take the master class. I'm not buoyant. Can I pay instrumentally? The answer is yes. Send us an email. admission@vantagemigration.ca. I've mentioned that already. Okay, so let's look at Mojisola. How are you? Thank you for joining my live session. We also have Antonia joining, and we have Zinta. Thank you so much for joining, okay? Now let's take a look at the other question. Then we also have Princess Okosu. Thank you. We have Patience. Thank you. Jim. Thank you. Yes, and Jim was able, Noella was able to type, let's see if I can pin the comments. admission@vantagemigration.ca. Thank you, Noella. Let other people were able to type it too. That's good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now let's look at other questions. Suleiman has typed wrong email. You see, he said admissions at advantage.ca. You are going to copy that email address, send email, it will never go through, and you keep saying that we are not responding to you. Suleiman, did you see what you type versus what I called? Which one is admissions@advantage.ca? Goodness. Okay, let me repeat. Our email address is admission@vantagemigration.ca. All right. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Busari, what happens to our email address? Busari, what happened to our email address? One moment, please. Okay, let's look at more questions. We have Kamara saying that he's looking for business BSc in banking and finance. Say I'm a business student with a BSc in banking and finance. Okay. Kamara, please attend our free webinar. Go to www.vantagemigration.ca. That's how to learn how to get started, and you take it up from there. All right. Let's look at more questions that we apply to everyone. Right. I love to answer those questions. We have Flo. Flo said watching live from Paris. Thank you so much. Let's look at other people. Okay. First of all, thank you so much for joining this particular session. Yes, the goal was to see questions that people had about relocating to Canada, the best way, the challenges and all that. I've been able to answer, some questions as well. So, thank you very much for spending time with me. I hope that as you are interested in coming to Canada, that soon, I'm going to be able to see you. All right? Soon, I'm going to be able to see you. So, take good care of yourself. Make sure you have a great day. And I'm going to ask you to tag someone. Tag someone to this. One moment. Tag someone to this video, so that they're able to get the information that you have also been able to get. If you know somebody who is looking to relocate and all that, and they need information or a place to get more information, tag them and ask them to follow our page. All right. Again, to get started, go to www.vantagemigration.ca to attend our free webinar. This is how you get to know what we do, how we do it, how you are going to be able to benefit. All right. Now, if you have attended the webinar and you have a question, can I pay instrumentally? Can I do this? Can I go with my wife? Can I do this? Can I do that? The best place to do it is not to come on the page and start commenting, but to send us an email. All right. To send us an email. admission@vantagemigration.ca. admission@vantagemigration.ca. That's the best way to do it. So make sure that you take care of yourself and you get started. All right, till I see you again. Bye.